Coming to you from Honolulu, capital of the 50th and most recent state of the USA, Hawaii, let's inch closer to the halfway point of this book. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you're weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Surrender gives you time to recover, time to torment and irritate your conqueror, time to wait for his power to wane. Do not give him the satisfaction of fighting and defeating you. Surrender first. By turning the other cheek, you infuriate and unsettle him. Make surrender a tool of power. Greene shows how the Japanese put this law into effect in the mid-1800s. When international business was posing a huge problem to Japanese independence, the Japanese decided to create alliances instead of fighting the foreigners. They opened themselves up to trade so that they could gain valuable insight, information, and knowledge from their rivals, which would then strengthen their position on the world stage. This gathering of intel would fill the gaps in their nation and would make them a power to reckon with. What they did was basically use a type of surrender to obtain entrance to the inner workings of their foes. You appear to be like them, but inwardly you still carry on with your own agenda, somewhat like a Trojan horse. If the Japanese would have countered, the impact of the Western forces would have been disastrous, and their society may have been forever changed. Greene also tells the story from ancient China of a king who was militarily conquered by the ruler of Wu. Instead of outright losing, the king surrendered all of his wealth and became a slave to the victor. After 3 years of loyal service, he was released. During that time, he was able to gain an understanding of Wu's structure and dynamics. When a drought struck the Wu Empire, the once servant put an army together, returned to where he was humiliated as a servant, and ravaged his enemy. Another illustration of this law is of Voltaire, the French writer, historian, and philosopher. He was living in exile in London when anti-French sentiment was at an all-time high. When he was confronted by an angry anti-French mob, they wanted to kill him. He said to them, "Men of England, you wish to kill me because I am a Frenchman. Am I not punished enough in not being born an Englishman?" The group was delighted by his remarks and safely walked him to his home. In a reversal of the law, Greene says that sometimes martyrdom is the only option. If you're up to it, your death could serve as an inspiration to survivors and your people, and you could be looked upon as a model of greatness. However, he adds that the endeavor of martyrdom is like gambling, though, because you don't know if your death will have any impact. No one may even notice your passing or even care for it if they knew. Therefore, Greene says, don't die for a cause. Surrender, live within the sanctity of your oppressor, learn his ways, then kill him when his guard is down. He also adds that you won't be able to relish in victory if you're dead. This law is all about playing possum and striking when your attacker has relaxed. This weakness of appearing dead is actually a strength, but you must have the mental fortitude to endure the endless thought that your life could be taken at any time, because it would be easy to jump right up and just run with the dream of getting away or just to be chased down and devoured. The whole goal is to infiltrate. You just have to be patient and bear some humiliation and pain. You'll have to swallow your pride, and this could or would be hard for many. This law is about being strategic, as with all the laws, but I just have an issue because of one thing: honor. This is where Greene would think I'm a fool. Actually, I'd be a dead fool, according to him. But just because I don't really agree with this law doesn't negate the fact that people use it and that it's effective. The plan is, with time, the once powerful can become weak. But what if that period is too long? Greene says something I don't agree with. He says, it is always our first instinct to react, to meet aggression with some other kind of aggression. And then he says, but the next time someone pushes you and you find yourself starting to react, do not resist or fight back, but yield, turn the other cheek, bend. He adds that you'll find this often neutralizes their behavior. They expected, even wanted you to react with force, and so they're caught off guard and confounded by your lack of resistance. By yielding, you in fact control the situation because your surrender is part of a larger plan to lull them into believing they have defeated you. See, to me, this is a bit risky because you truly have to know your adversary. What if he's ruthless, vile, merciless, tortures you, and then just kills you in the end? What if the Wu drought didn't come for another 30 years, instead of shortly after the losing king was released? Then you would have been a slave, for no reason. But surrendering does take the sweet pleasure out of the conqueror's win because you gave yourself up. You didn't put up a fight, so the psychology with this law is glaringly apparent. I'm not a great chess player, but on the occasions that I do win, but my opponent gives up before I can checkmate, the win isn't as sweet because he ultimately determined his fate instead of me taking his king. Some may say that surrendering allows you to fight another day. Honor is meaningless if you're dead, but it really comes down to your own life philosophy. What would ultimately bring you the most happiness or less grief. Living in disgrace on your knees for a period of time with hopes to fight another day, or dying with honor on your feet. As with all laws, it's all about context. Different situations call for different courses of action, or implementing different laws in this case. However, to me, this is a hit or miss law. You can argue soundly for both sides, but most importantly, it all depends on your own life's philosophy. Anyway, that's all I have for Law 22. Use a surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. And when you do, according to Greene, you're able to attain some power. Signing out from beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii, even though it's cloudy today and about to rain, take care and be awesome. Peace.